We turn now to the other big news from the world of politics this afternoon. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died. He was 84 years old.
His family releasing a statement saying he was surrounded by family, including his wife and 2 daughters. Cheney, often considered one of the most active and influential vice presidents in U.S. history, leaving his mark on foreign policy, especially in the war on terror.
But in recent years, we saw him cross the aisle, even endorsing another vice president, Kamala Harris, in the 2024 election. Joe Torres is in the newsroom with a look at Dick Cheney's life and legacy. Joe?
Sandra and David, when he served as vice president to George W. Bush, many people regarded Dick Cheney as one of the most powerful vice presidents in U.S. history. His hawkish views shaped decades of Republican foreign policy, but his assertive approach divided the American public, and his shift on social issues later in his career alienated many in his own party, including President Trump. Washington insider, political lightning rod, hardline conservative. Many called Dick Cheney the force behind President George W. Bush. He was a notoriously silent but powerful VP and fervent defender of the Bush administration, as well as an ardent critic of President Obama.
When they've made all the decisions they've had, close Guantanamo, end the high-value detainee program and so forth, I think those are all mistakes.
Conservatives adored Dick Cheney. Liberals vilified him and often compared him to a Star Wars villain.
They wouldn't call me Darth Vader for nothing.
He was known for his conservative views on nearly everything but gay rights, and this might explain why.
As many of you know, one of my daughters is gay. I think people ought to be free to enter into any kind of union they wish.
Richard Bruce Cheney was born in 1941 in Lincoln, Nebraska. He grew up in Casper, Wyoming, and married Lynn Ann Vincent in 1964. Cheney first arrived in Washington in 1969 to work for President Nixon's chief of staff, Donald Rumsfeld. He replaced his mentor in 1975. After a stint as head of defense contractor Halliburton, Cheney returned to run George W. Bush's vice presidential selection committee and was selected himself.
The person who was best qualified to be my vice presidential nominee was working by my side.
After 9/11, Cheney was influential in formulating the U.S. response. The doctrine of preemptive action widened the war on terror from Afghanistan to Iraq.
We have a further responsibility to help keep the peace of the world and to prevent the terrorists and their sponsors from plunging the world into horrific violence.
In 2024, a shocking decision that stunned people on both sides of the political aisle. The lifelong Republican endorsed Democrat Vice President Kamala Harris instead of President Trump. He said Trump should never be trusted with power again after the events of January 6th, and that Americans each have a duty to put country above partisanship to defend our Constitution. Cheney's daughter Liz was one of 10 Republicans who voted to impeach President Trump for his role in the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. And former President George W. Bush released a statement this morning saying, in part, "The death of Richard B. Cheney is a loss to the nation and a sorrow to his friends. History will remember him as among the finest public servants of his generation, a patriot who brought integrity, high intelligence, and seriousness of purpose to every position he held." And while we are still awaiting a statement from President Trump, you can see right there the flag at the White House lowered to half-staff to mark his passing. Sandra and David.